Hey there, it's Tom with Tom Tech Show, and today we're doing some woodworking crafting. I mean, we're all kind of makers. I make, the little lights back here. Let me turn them on. That lights that come up and blink and do different things when I'm, talking, and the volume goes up and down and all that stuff. So it's kind of a maker thing. And making things out of wood. So I ran over to Home Depot, lasted through the line of 50 people trying to get into the door. And was able to get in there and get a bunch of sticks of wood, get some extra screws, get some different things that I need, because for many, many years, there's a little animal over here. There's this bird over here, and that's Tweety Bird in here. Tweety Bird, she has been sitting here, and where she lives is on those two chairs. So I'm going to be cutting pieces and making her a stand. So it doesn't take much to do. The cat wants out now because the cat realizes someone's going to be using power tools, and I don't want to be in here for that. So now it doesn't want to go out. Come on. There you go. You just got to kick him out. All right, let's get started. Okay, so let's see. Let's get this camera. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of make a box. I got a little chart, made some drawings about how I'm going to do this. I'm actually going to make a box around the top. It has to be in such a way that there's a little tray on the bottom of the bird cage, so you want to be able to slide that out in order to be able to get things in and out. And I'm going to put a shelf underneath so we can put our seed and food and other things underneath there. So I did have creating like a cut list over here of the different pieces of wood that I need to cut. So I'm going to do that. We're going to run that, and I'll show you once that's all put together how it's going to go. All right. Well, next step is a lot of sawing. So here we go. Okay, now I have my boards for my sides. Now we're going to cut the boards for the front and back. So one thing I'm doing, since I have these little wood clamps that are clamping my two boards together so I can cut them at the same time, is I have them here, and I just have this wood table that they're sitting on that I basically made out of scrap wood, but I have a clamp here, and it's sitting off to this side, and then on the other end, I have a clamp holding them in the back, but it's on the other side. If I put the clamps on both on the same side, then it rolls over and becomes kind of unstable. So I do it kind of that way so that it kind of holds and stays on its own. All right, here we go. Next piece cut. Okay, so those are cut. I just want to show you that yes, I am wearing safety glasses. When using power tools, definitely safety is the key. So these are going to go and be screwed together like this so that we have, eventually a box. And this wood box is going to fit right underneath that bird cage is going to fit, and sit right down inside that box. Now what I usually do in these cases is some people will use glue or something. I'm just going to use screws. I've got a ton of drywall screws. This is kind of what my favorite thing is to use. Just drill some holes through here and drill down through, and then just drive a screw through it. So when I'm screwing these things together, I've got a little right angle piece of wood that I have here that's very, very right angle, 90 degrees straight. So I can just clamp these two together, and then here on the top, then we're going to drill the holes in here so I can put the screws down through. Now, one thing that's going to happen is in this cage, right, we're going to have this square that's here, and then on the side here are going to be legs that are going to be attached onto the side. So I need to be aware of where screws are going, and I don't want to put a screw here and then try and screw something in here in the middle, and then that's going to interfere with the other screw that's in there. So I need to be aware of where I'm putting screws and how many screws. So these, for the box, I'm going to put one screw in the middle, because then I'm going to put two screws on the outside when I put the legs on, because the legs need more stability. So that's going to be a little bit better way to do it. All right. So we have the drill, we need battery. The one thing that I know is that a long time ago, I only had one battery. And after a while of going, take it out, putting it and taking it out, then you realize you really, really need 2 batteries. It makes all the difference in the world. So, all right, so here we go. We're going to put a screw down the center of it. Okay, there we go. Now I'm just using, 1x2 pine. This stuff's like, $1.20 a stick for 8 feet. So it's really not expensive. So make some of these projects easy, but that means that when you're screwing these things in and getting them tight, if you don't pre-drill it, you're going to have a chance on splitting this cheap wood. All right, well, I'm going to build the rest of the box. We'll be back right after that. So I got my box made. I went and test fitted on the cage, and it fits right in there. My one concern about the little cleaning tray underneath, there's more than enough clearance from this piece of wood down to the cleaning tray that it'll just slide right out, and I'll be able to clean it without having to take the cage out of the stand. So now the chairs that the bird was on, if I can get the camera to focus, switch cameras maybe. The chair that the bird was on is about 24 inches, so I'm going to go a little bit higher than that. We're going to go maybe 28 inches, so that way when you go in to give the bird food, give the bird seed, give whatever, then it's going to be at a good height to do that. So we'll do some more cuts, get some legs. So now the legs, once we get the legs are going to go on here on this side, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then after that, once we get the legs there, then we're going to cut some boards, and I've got a piece of plywood that is going to be for a shelf underneath. So we're moving right along. So we've got our box. So I'm going to cut some legs. We'll be right back. Okay, so we got our 4 legs here now. We're going to screw those on the side of the box. And some of you are probably saying, why isn't he using this tool? Why isn't he using that tool? Why doesn't he do it this way? Well, you deal with what you have. So I've got my Ryobi tools. I've got my move this around here. I've got my box of screws and everything here. I've got this screw box that has all my screws and stuff in it, my different lengths, my different sizes. I put the box in here, and then on the top of this I cut the top of the box off of the side, so I know these are number 6 1 1/4, number 6 1 1/2. These are 6 by 2 inch. Over here we got 2-inch nails, and I've got some other miscellaneous things sitting around there. But this is what I have, and this is what I use, and I've been able to do quite a few things and build things with it over the years. Not everyone has, what's in, Adam Savage's cage, right? Not everybody has that, so you deal with what you've got. I do have these clamps that are really handy for just if you need to clamp something down to a table and make it steady and saw it and stuff. I do have that, and that works really well. All right, so next we're going to screw these pieces of wood to the side of our box here. So here's our box, here's this. We're just going to put the legs on like this. Now to make it steady for the first screw, I can just clamp that right on there so that I can drill in a screw here, and then this side drill in a screw here. Now this side is deeper, so I'm going to use my 1 1/2. This side is a little bit shorter, so I have to use the 1 1/4, otherwise the end of the screw comes through the other side. All right, so gotta get the battery off of the circular saw. I'm looking at buying a table saw or a miter saw. I don't know which one I'm going to go with, but one of those. Okay, so now we have to remember, right, that here in the middle, there's a screw in the middle, so we want to go off to the one side. Make sure my leg is straight. Where's my block? I have my angle block here, so that I know, okay, so that that's straight at a right angle there. Okay, drill this. The drill, not the screw. Okay, here we go. Grab the longer screw because this has the board behind it. I can go deeper. Okay, and we just want to go flush with this drill. I mean, I can drive the screw all the way through. I mean, easily. I try and use it at the lowest, you know, setting of the work on it. So, okay, now that we have that one in there, I can do the other side. Yeah, this one's going to be a 1 1/4 screw because we don't want it going all the way through. Right up to there. Screw did not go through. There we go. We're all set. So we have one leg on, just like that. That's going to be a pretty good height for the bird cage because the bird cage will sit up, you know, pretty high on top of that. So, all right, I'm going to put the rest of the legs on, and we'll see how it does. Hang on. Okay, here we got the stand here. It's all nice. We get all the legs. It's pretty sturdy. Once we get the other shelf on, it's going to be much more sturdy. But I just thought I would come in and do a quick test. Here's the bird cage going right in, sitting right in to the stand. Fits right in there nicely, nice and snug fit. Actually gets really snug down in there. Okay, so the key that we want to be able to do is to be able to pull this tray out, to be able to clean it, which we can. Slides back in. When the bird cage was sitting on the chairs, it was pushing up on the bottom, and then you could not get the tray out. Now that it's sitting on the outsides of the cage, this is nice and loose. We can just slide it in and out. There we go. All right, so the next part is the shelf. I have this piece of plywood here. We'll go over that and what I'm going to do with that. Let me go put the bird away because I don't want any noise around her little ears. All right. Okay, so I know that the distance from, got that in the way anyway, from here to here is 25 3/4. So what I need to do is take and make a piece of wood that goes across here that that my plywood can sit on. So this is a 24 by 24 piece of plywood. So I'm going to cut this plywood a little shorter. I'll probably cut it that way. And then I think I'm going to put a backstop on it too, so that, you know, a piece of wood back here that goes across the back. So if you slide something back there, it'll stop and won't fall across into the back. So, but I know that my main pieces across here that I need to put there are the same as length as these front pieces, which are 25 3/4. So let's cut 2 pieces of wood, 25 3/4, and then we can get them situated inside the bottom of our cage stand. All right, here we go. Okay, so I've got my 2 pieces of wood here that I'm going to use for my hold up the shelf. Now what I want to know, right, is how far down I want my shelf going. Well, this one thing I know that needs to be on the shelf is the food box, but I don't want it there because the cage does, you know, sit. If I put it here, if I just put the shelf right here, the cage does sit down a little bit, and I want to be able to get things in and out easily, and I don't want it to be too close to the ground, so that because you want to be able to maybe put some things underneath it. So this piece of wood across is 4 inches. So that plus 4 inches is probably about a good spot, because that will be add the thickness of that, the thickness of the cage. Well, what's the other side? Hold on, what's the other side? This side is 5.5 inches. 5.5 inches actually sounds a little bit better. So we're just going to use this to measure and put a mark there. Put a mark there. And then flip the stand over. same thing. This is kind of a practical measuring. Right, we're just using objects to create distance. And if we base those off of the same reference point up here on the top, then that distance will be the same all the way around. So let me see what has happened. What's this distance? This distance is 12 5/8, 12 5/8, 12 5/8, and 12 5/8. So we're 12 5/8 everywhere. So now we need to move this back down to the floor so that I can stick these on here and be able to connect them. So I'm going to use my little block here again so that I can get them on the right place. Let's move it back up here actually. Sideways and let it block them off. It's getting big. As we start putting the pieces of wood together, they start getting bigger and bigger. So here we go. We've got this, and then we will take this with my clamps right here. Now this piece of wood was like at 12 5/8. Okay, grab the batteries. Now this is we're going from a piece of wood into the long part of a piece of wood. So I should be able to use a longer 6 by 1.5 screw in order to put this in here. This needs to be flat on the desk here. Screw it in. There we go. Much better. There. Okay, so we got our drill. And we're going to put 2 on each side. This is also going to add to the stability. The other reason I'm putting this down here, right, is to add to the stability of the stand, right? So now we're adding more braces and cross members, which will make the stand square. I can drill both holes at the same time. Okay, I've got my 2 screws here. I'm going to put these here on the end. There we go. 1 and 2. Okay, so that's like 2 screws. So now we've got to do the other side of this one and both sides of the other shelf brace, and we'll be right back once I get that done. Okay, now our place for our shelf is here, so this is going to be where our shelf goes. I'm going to actually trim that up a little bit so it's not sticking out so far. I just want it to be right in there in the bottom. So I'm going to make like I said, a stop for the back, so I need to cut a piece that's, this is actually plywood, so I think it's going to actually be 24 inches. Yes, just, well, 23 7/8. So it's close. So we'll cut a piece here, 23 7/8, and we'll get that screwed onto the back. so now I want this piece of plywood here. I'll let it stick out like an inch on each side. So I put that at an inch there. I'm going to go here, which is 14 and a half, so 15 and a half inches. Okay. So you just put it here. Nice that our cage makes a nice stand. 15 and a half. 15 and a half. There we go. Now we need a line. How straight is this piece of wood? Oh, this one's not too bad. Then we can run a line there. Okay, now I don't have a table saw, of course, so I'm going to run our wood clamps in the back so that it doesn't move, and then we're going to use the Ryobi circular saw. Well, we can do this a different way. So I know that underneath here, the distance from this back point to the blade is exactly 4 inches. So what we do is we take this piece of wood here and we clamp it down. I have to move this over. We will clamp this down exactly 4 inches back from our marker. That is exactly 4 inches. So crank that down. Over here to the other side, go 4 inches, right, exactly. Take our clamp, clamp that down onto there at 4 inches. So, now that we have that sitting there clamped 4 inches away, all that I have to do is keep the saw, I'm starting from this side, up against that fence. Now this doesn't need to be so deep. Be a little easier if we move that so that the blade is the right depth, easier to cut through. So if I start right there and go through, then that clamp is a little bit bumping against it. Let's move it a little bit. Okay, still 4 inches. Must keep track of my measurements here. Still exactly 4 inches. So I should be able to take this and run it right along there. And not have to worry, as long as I keep it against the fence, right, it should just cut right at the correct distance. And there we go. We have a nice, clean edge cut right there at the right distance. Ta-da! There we go. So that's using a piece of wood as a fence on your sheet that you're trying to cut. And if we check this, it should be 15 and a half on both sides. So there we go. we are good to go. So now I have my piece back here that I'm going to use as the stop. So I will take and drill this and put some screws in it. And we're going to switch batteries around. We're getting close to being done. I don't know if the bird's going to be happy or not, but this one I'm just going to kind of hand hold and drill one of the corner here. This side, I'm just going to hand hold this because I think I can hold it right there. This is pretty soft wood, so there we go. Take this, get it started a little bit, and I'm using the shorter of the screws. There we go. Okay, let's go down to the other end and do the same thing. Screw, put it into the side. Okay, I'm going to put a couple in between here, maybe two. Okay. These are my little weekend projects that I do. I mean, I built the desk that's over here that I use for my videos. This was just, went out and got a 2 foot by 4 foot piece of particle kind of board, and used a mishmash of 1x2s and created legs and everything else on it. So, okay, now we have a backsplash there. A little stop. So now, and since, you know, I made this an inch longer on each side, the reason for that was once I get down here at the bottom, right, to screwing this down to the bottom of this, it's so it will, the splash will be able to drill in here, and the little splash will be towards the back. So, all right, so that should be something, make that an inch on that side. That's less than an inch on that side, so we need to a little bit further. So I'm going to put the stop right on the edge there, and this is 7/8 of an inch, and that's almost an inch. So I'm going to go just a little bit that way, trying to get it right centered. Okay, there we go. Now I have some much shorter screws. These are like inch screws because I don't want it to go too far down there. We'll put one right here. And one over there. The plywood is definitely thinner than the 1x2. Go. So make sure that's okay. Now this needs to be moved that way a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna have to stretch that a little bit. Block. Okay. So I'm gonna move it and clamp it. Okay, so this is gonna be like at 1 and up there. Make sure that it's square. That looks right on both sides. There we go. Add a couple more screws. Okay. Grab some of my short ones. Put those in here. Make sure they're a little bit lower than flush. Okay, clean them off a little bit. Looks correct. Okay, boom. And there we go. There's a very solid, I can almost close to put my weight all the way on it. It's not what it's for. Made for a very lightweight bird stand. So I'm going to take my old chairs that the bird used to be sitting on away from that side of the room. Okay, and then we take this, and here is where the bird's going to go. Bird goes right there. Go grab the bird. Hold on. Grabbing bird. Okay, there we go. There's bird with the shelf, and the bird seat fits right under there, and if you push these back, it's not going to fall all the way back. So this is the little Carefresh that you use to line the bottom of the cage and stuff. So that fits right under there on the shelf very nicely. And there we go. That's our, move that camera out of the way. Come back to this one. That's our bird cage stand. Fits in really well once I get it all snug in there. And of course the little tray easily slides in and out for cleaning and everything else. So yeah, I like it. So this is my kind of a weekend project since I can't go anywhere. And I did have to, you know, I guess weave through the line at Home Depot. There were about 50 people sitting there and everything waiting to try and get in the store. So hang on. Okay, so we're back here sitting and we've got that done. I'm pretty warm now. It gets pretty warm in this room trying to do this stuff, but I think if I look over here, go to this camera, all looks pretty good. Little Tweety's in there, hanging out in her new little bird cage stand area and stuff. I think she's going to be pretty happy hanging out there. So yeah, we've got these weekend projects that we have to do because we can't do anything else. I guess it's good. I mean, we get finishing some things up that I've been wanting to do. I mean, having the bird sitting on chairs for a year is really not what we want to be doing with her. So, and gives me a chance to use my tools. I mean, I love using my Ryobi tools. This one, if you could see, yes, Tweety, you can see this one has been through it. I mean, this one has been, the grip and everything is all ripped apart and torn apart from being all over everywhere, but they still work. And the nice thing is the 18-volt batteries that, you know, this one's what, almost 20 years old, I think, this drill. That's like a 3-year-old, 4-year-old 18-volt battery from Ryobi. Works. So that's the nice thing about getting into a system that has all the different things. And Tweety's over there tweeting and screaming away because she's all happy she's got a place to live and not be angled. And, you know, it was like, you know, this is like the old Batman show, the Batman, you know, show with Adam West way back when, where all the criminal layers were all tilted a little bit. Well, that's what she was dealing with for quite a while, sitting on those chairs off at an angle. So anyway, thanks for watching this. It's just one of my little side projects that I had to do for the weekend. Thought I would share it with everybody. So take care, be safe. Hopefully the country's going to be opening up very soon. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye.